Shabbat Shalom. امیدوارم که این دعای عنابکاخ رو همه دیگه از حفظ بدونیم و استفادهش کنید هر جا که میتونید. با اجازه تمام بزرگان من صحبت امروز رو به انگلیسی میگم به خاطر جوانایی که داریم. This Shabbat is a very, very special Shabbat. We're going to read a section from the book of Reshit, Genesis, Parasha Vayishlah. Parasha Vayishlah is it's a continuation of the story of Yaakov. Yaakov, after 22 years that he serves at the house of his father-in-law Lavan, which we know he's a very, very negative person, he gathered together his family and he wants to come back to Israel, go back to his homeland, hope to see his father and his mother. But then he has a huge challenge, which is Esav, his brother, who hates him. And Esav has made an oath that he's going to kill Yaakov after their father Ishaq has passed away. And he knows that. And even with this huge challenge that he has, he decides to go back to Israel. And the parasha starts, and I'm going to go through the literal story of the Torah, and I'm sure all of us know the story. It says in the beginning that Yaakov sends all these angels to Esav, his brother. He sends angels. Yaakov, apparently, he's so powerful, he can connect to the angels, and he sends the angels to go and spy for him whereabouts of his brother Esav. And these angels come back to him and they tell him that Esav is coming with an army and he wants to kill you, he wants to destroy you. And he's afraid. Yaakov is afraid. And he prepares for a war. He prepares his family, he prepares all his belonging to go to a war, just in case a war happens with his brother, to be prepared. And then something very strange happens. As they cross the Jordan River, he remembers that he forgets this little piece of his belonging, and he goes back all by himself. He's all alone. And the Torah says an angel, a man in the form of angels, comes and wrestles with him all night. And when he's unable to defeat Yaakov, he leaves him in the morning and he blesses him. The angel who fought him all night blesses Yaakov. And he changes Yaakov's name and he tells him, from now on, your name is not Yaakov, your name is Israel. And Yaakov asks a question. He goes, who are you? What is your name? He asked that angel, what is your name? And we know that he doesn't answer. A very, very strange story. We live in the world that we have so much challenges in this world. There seems to be so much chaos all around the world. What's the point of studying, learning about the life of Yaakov? What good is it for me today? I have so many challenges in my life. The whole world seems to be running and the chaotic forces all around us. The news gets worse and worse. There are health issues in the world, economy issues in the world, extremist people all around us. And now I learn about Yaakov and his brother Esav. And this section was designed from day one of the creation. Shabbat Shalom, please. And this section was designed from the first day of creation to be read on every Kenisa in the whole wide world. As God knows that by reading this story, which the Zohar doesn't believe this is a story, Rabbi Shimon totally overlook what's going on with this story. And this is, the energy of this reading is somehow is going to create peace and harmony for all the people in the world. And we are responsible to read it very carefully, Rabbi Mordechai has to read it without any mistake, with a beautiful melody. And if he does a good job, and if we help him to read it the way it should be written, then we're going to generate some energy force, not only for ourselves, not only for our family and friends, but the whole world. We can make a difference. The story of Yaakov and his brother, he forgets something, an angel comes and wrestles with him. He sends an angel. This is like a Hollywood story. This is like the Star Wars movie. And then you open up the Zohar, because Rabbi Shimon says, if you think the Torah is about the story of Yaakov and Esav, you are a fool. If you think you're studying a story, excuse me, it's not my saying, it's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He says, only a fool thinks that the Torah is talking about the story of Yaakov and his brother. And then when you start reading the Zohar, in the very, very beginning, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, starts to explain this section of the Torah, and he brings the quote from Tehillim, from David HaMelech. Tehillim, David HaMelech. And he explains Tehillim verses 91. That when a man is born into this world, and a woman is born to this world, the first 12 years for woman and the first 13 years for men, we receive an energy force which is quite negative. It's called Etzahara, a consciousness of negativity that stays with the boy and the girl until the age of Bar Mitzvah and Bat Mitzvah. And the only thing that they receive is the thought, energy consciousness of Etzahara, of a negative force. And then when they reach the age of 12 and 13, then they receive the positive aspects of the consciousness, Etzatov, the good. So let me repeat this. When we are born, the only thing that the child receives is a negative consciousness. For the first 12 for the girls and the 13 for the boys, the only thing that they receive is a negative consciousness. What is negative consciousness according to Kabbalah? Ego. Selfishness. Wanting everything for ourselves. And then, after 12 and 13, we receive the positive consciousness. We receive the consciousness of being a sharing person, being a giving person, being a loving person, being a proactive person. And then Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai explains that Yaakov, it's a name, it's an energy consciousness. It's not referring to a prophet, a patriot 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. It's a consciousness of the positivity. Esav, it's not a name, it's a consciousness of a negative force, of Etzahara, of doubt, uncertainty, worries, sadness, ego. And the Kabbalists explain, when a child is born, when they want to check that if the child is normal child, his fists are all closed. That represents the Etzer Hara, the desire for the self alone. And when a man leaves this world, his hands or her hands are open. And that's a normal way of coming to this world. This parasha Vayishlah, it's about going to war. Going to war. But it's not a physical war. It's a war of consciousness. It's a war of consciousness that me and you go through every day, every second of our life. We are dwelling with these two energy forces. The energy force of the ego, selfishness, worries, uncertainties, doubt, versus the energy of the positivity, energy of Yaakov, energy of seeing everything positive, caring for one another, loving one another, being outside of ourselves, going outside our comfort zone. And when it says that Yaakov sends angels, and we see that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai clearly makes it clear that angels are consciousness, are energy intelligence. When he says he sends messengers, and he says if Yaakov sends messengers, Yaakov can connect to the angels, that means me and you can connect to the angels. Otherwise it would have been written for us. We're not talking about a person 4,000 years ago. We're talking about our own consciousness today. That we can connect to all these intelligence, all these energy forces that are around us. Yaakov knows that he has to go to war. We go to war every day, every second of our life. But with what consciousness? With what consciousness? And what is so amazing that God comes and guarantees Yaakov. He guarantees Yaakov, I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be an amazing family. Your children are going to be the stars of the heaven. I'm going to multiply you. You're going to be a great, great nation. So Yaakov, what are you worried about? What are you afraid of? If God guarantees you, you're going to be amazing, you're going to be healthy, everything is going to be all right, as He does it in the Torah over and over and over again. He gives us this guarantee not just because of who we are, because who is Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, who are our forefathers, and He guarantees that we're going to be okay. So why are you worried about? What is the fear? What is the fear of Yaakov? What is he afraid of? And before he goes to war, he prays to God. God already has given him guarantee, but he prays to God. He tells God, if you protect me, he already said he's going to protect him. He says a prayer, he does a meditation. Then he prepares his whole family. He prepares his whole situation to go to war. But then something happens. The twist of the story, that all of a sudden, Yaakov is alone. Yaakov is alone. He leaves his family and he goes back to the other side of the river, and all the angels stays with his family. They leave him alone. And he's all by himself, and this other angel comes, the angel of Esav, the consciousness of Esav, the consciousness of doubt, the consciousness of uncertainty, the ego, the selfishness. They come to fight him. And he wrestles with this guy. He wrestles with this consciousness all night long. And he doesn't give up. He doesn't give up. When he goes to the other side of the river, he knows he's all by himself. And Zohar, in one way, it says, you shouldn't be alone. But then the Kabbalist explains that we know two people are alone. God is alone. God is alone. And Yaakov becomes alone. So the loneliness of Yaakov represents that he has reached the level of the yichud with the light force of God. He doesn't want angels. He doesn't want any assistant. He wants to go to war against his own consciousness. And he fights, and he fights, and he works on himself. He understands. He understood there is only one enemy for him. And this enemy is not outside of him. This enemy are not the extremists in the world. The enemy is a man consciousness, a negative consciousness, the consciousness of doubt, the consciousness of uncertainty, the consciousness of selfishness. And when he doesn't let go of it, he's not afraid of it, and he wrestles with it all night. He goes, we have this thing called home court advantage. When a sports game happens, if the game happens in your field, you have an advantage. Yaakov goes to the other side. He doesn't stay in his home field. He doesn't fight this evil force in his home court. He fights it at his court all night long. When the darkness takes over, when the doubt takes over, and he fights it, and he fights it, and he says he wrestles with it. That means he grabs his own ego. He challenges, he dwells it within himself. Comes in the morning, and the angel, the consciousness of the dark side, is defeated. And then he changed the totality of what we call the dark force. And all of a sudden, this angel of dark force becomes the angel of God. Becomes the angel of God, and he blesses him. And when he asks this angel, what is your name? Who are you? What are you? That means, and we talked about this with my good friend yesterday, Amir. We face challenges all the time. All the time. And if you overcome the challenges today, that doesn't mean you're done with it. No, another challenge is going to come tomorrow, and you have no idea what that challenge is. And you're not supposed to know, because then you lose your power of overcoming that negative force. And when he overcomes his own negativity, his own ego, when he sees Esav, the physical Esav, which hates him, wanted to kill him, and instead of killing him, he comes and he kisses Yaakov. Because there is nothing negative about Yaakov when he sees his brother. He already washed out everything that was negative in him. So it's not about outside. God is telling us, in this crazy physical world that seems to be so much chaos outside of us, God is telling us, don't worry about the outside. Take care of your own negative thoughts. Take care of your own negative consciousness. And when you overcome that, when you pure yourself from all this negative, stupid, negative consciousness, then you can overcome any challenges in your life. The power of this Shabbat gives us the power to connect to the awesome power of the angels, to the extra energies that are surround us all the time, so we can overcome our own negativity, and becoming a pillar of light, we can light up the world. Amen. Amen.